This is important recorded history. So let's get back to Dr. Hanley, Dr. Cooley. So this school business had been built up over the years. It was not named the Squatta School Business. That came later. They bought their name in. Yale Wattis died of leukemia 3 days after he got the contract to build Hoover Dam, jumping up in his wheelchair. I call it the Wattis curse. So over the years, into the 80s, into the 90s, Clyde Cooley built up that school of business. Dr. Hanley built up that school of business. It was an elite school of business. You graduated from there, you walked into any place you wanted, you had a job like that. And I'm not kidding. I know. 17 people graduated the year I graduated. I think that program in the Business Administration BA, well over 300 had started. It was wicked, it was vicious. He was wicked. He was tougher than hell. Dr. Sessions said in the speech there that he had death threats. I'm like, I don't think that would scare that dude. He was vicious. I had my fights with him. You know, I mean, he was hardcore. It was his way or the highway, period. But he was full of integrity. He was smart. He was an intimidating presence. But the one thing that he was about that I really learned to gain and appreciate, he was all about ethics. Big time. Here is the #1 football player in the history of this school, bar none. He could have played in the NFL. There was no money in the NFL in those days. Went and got a Ph.D. Worked his way up through as a teacher. Turned it into the #1 school business in the United States. The year I graduated, we beat Harvard by half a point. I think we beat Wharton by 1 point. He built it up. He went after the NCAA harder than anyone. He refused to go to the Weber State basketball games anymore. He quit. He wouldn't go. He's like, no, the NCAA's completely captured. By the way, Damian Lillard played here. I see he got a, new $100 million contract. That's probably why he hasn't showed back up in Ogden. I don't blame him. That's a lot of money. What an athlete. What a migration I have watched him. Dr. Hanley refused to even go to the basketball games anymore. He refused to go to the football games anymore. He'd had it with them. He says the NCAA are none but slave owners, disgusting. It's corporatization. He fought him. So dirty Governor Herbert, even before then, they kept coming to these universities, Utah State. Here, they knew that we were #1. They're like, we want to develop the supply chain model as a business. They sold it to the Board of Regents. The Board of Regents, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's, develop a supply chain from slave camps in China. That's what they are. They're slave camps. I've been in them. Dr. Hanley says, are you kidding? Hell no! Cooley, oh no way. This is our program. So we get an MBA program. I mean, the irony. There were kids flocked over from all over the world. Some of the most, everybody. You name it. If you wanted a chance, you came here. It was brutal. Dr. Cooley got mad cow. Dropped dead in 99. Dr. Madsen got cancer in 2005. Lung cancer, died. They chipped away. They saw the blood in the water. They went after it. The last person to push out was Dr. Hanley. His brain started to go from blows to the head. I want to really say thank you to his wife. She honored his wishes. She spoke at the thing. I almost started to cry. Well, I did start to cry. She says, a lot of people didn't want me to do this, including people around here. But I did it anyway. He wanted me to do it. My absent-minded professor. Those blows to the head. I lived with him. I slept with him. I knew more about him than anyone. I donated his brain. Playing football did that to him. He knew it. These scumbags on this university that took this place over, they saw the blood in the water. They took advantage of that. They saw him starting to become absent-minded. He was still over there running the program. Like freaking sharks, freaking blood in the water. Dr. Cooley's gone. Dr. Madsen. These scumbags went along with it. They sold us down the river. Now it's nothing but Chinese kids over there who are multi-gazillion. You should see how rich these kids. You should see the cars they drive around this campus. It reminds me when the Saudi kids were on this campus. Their tests plummeted. They've doubled their salaries over there. They recruit in China like a basketball team of oligarchy. He resigned. He finally walked. He was the last. Dr. Chi resigned. Dr. Valentine resigned. They all walked. We all walked. I was just a peon adjunct. The secretary was there. She says, Kevin, thank you for that speech. And I says, well, I thought you drank the Kool-Aid too. No, it just took me a little longer to wake up. I walked out too. So they're talking about his football, his football, his football. They don't want to talk about the pummeling of the public dime here. The hundreds of millions of dollars they've looted in an up market and just crashed the public's money so they can raise student fees, so they can raise parking. When they had all this money, what do they do with it? Sell off the signal? This Board of Regents, and boy, the earful got right in this new president here because he was sitting right next to me. I told her, well, that speech I gave, she said it was fantastic. His son come up and hugged me, everybody. I says, that was for his ears. You know, there's Mike Vaughn, who used to be the, dean over there. He's gone along just grinning, yay, going along with the winning team, patting himself on the back with the provost here with his money. All they talk, football, final. I said, that's it. I'm getting up. So I get up, got my Austrian hat on. I said, you want to talk football, football, football? He was all that then some. Intimidating as hell. I taught with him. I knew him. I was one of his students. And everybody, lots of students hated him. Hated him. I learned to. I didn't like him. I was like, he was a prick. And I'm like, but I learned the hard way. And then after years on, he had total respect for me. He respected everybody. Say, God, how come he? Because I earned it. Oh boy, did I earn that. So I stood up. I said, do you want to talk football, football, football? How come we're not talking? This is what we were saying. How come we're not talking about the #1 school of business he built? Not some opinionated bullshit. The #1 school of business in the United States. He personally awarded me the first MBA. Oh, they've stripped it from me since. They've taken it from me now because of, I mean, not just about the nuclear stance, my integrity on the corruption stance. The football team program was so corrupt here, sex for grades. You can look it up. And they had the losingest program in the United States over a 20-year period. He knew it. Bleeding $1.5 million a year. Corruption from hell. No local players. Now Jay, who's up there now, he's turned it around. I mean, one thing about Jay Hill, he wasn't there, by the way. I was really disgusted. Nobody from the football team was there. But, I'll give it to Jay. He's arrogant, pats himself on the back. He's going to get rich, I guess. That's what they do. That's what football calls. But he has turned it around. Win losses. Is it corrupt? I don't think so. I don't know. I'll find out. But they sure win. He took the losingest program in the United States and turned it into one of the winningest overnight. Reminds me of the 1984 Jazz. Reminds me of Frank Layden, who sits up here with the games with me. The basketball games. He goes to the games here. You ought to hear him go off about the Jazz. Same type of situation. Bruce used to sit with me at the games. So disgusted with what the NCAA did. They did a throwback last year. I don't think he even went. I'm going to honor him. San Diego State we open. San Onofre Bowl. Oh, I'll honor him. I'm going to do it for this radio station because I was asked to. Not everybody on this campus hates me. There's a lot of people that love me. The secretary walks up to me after that. She says, Kevin Blanch, you were right then, you're right now. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the looting of the public dime. We don't want to talk about this state taxpayer-funded university, this beautiful young boutique freaking university being the #1 tested, producing local students all over running the world. Incredible. To being annihilated. This all started in 2000, just like the country. The theft of the 2000 election, and that's not opinion. Oh, they stole it. The Women League of voters, 7 different institutions recounted in Florida, all 7. Gore won. I was no fan of Gore's. I was no fan of Clinton's. I'm no fan of any of these politicians. I can't stand left or right. But the truth is the truth. That's when this madness started. The military-industrialized complex gone mad. Then the gift that keeps on giving. 9/11. The war machine marches on. The indoctrination marches on. The quality of life reels. The debt structure reels. The opioid epidemic reels. The obesity epidemic reels. The freaking mental illnesses are off the hook. Well, I wonder why. You're overworked and underpaid. Housing bubble from hell. We have a housing crisis in this country that is historic. Third world America, don't drink the water. We have a water quality problem. We have a food quality problem. We have a toxic fucking hellhole we've turned this place into for what? A war machine to occupy for corporations? That's all Afghanistan is. Do not kid yourself. Went off to Afghanistan to kill the Taliban. Went off to Iraq to get a big old sack. Went off to Vietnam to kill the Viet Cong. How nice is the invented-lysis? This freaking whole militarism is insane. For what? For what? For what? How long? That's not a war. How long have we been there? Trump says we're going to pull them out. Remember, that was another one of his campaign. We're going after the Saudi royal. Do you know about the Sovereign Wealth Act? The 9/11 Act in Congress? Now, the last teabagger Congress, they couldn't get anything done, right? They couldn't pass anything. This divided Congress. They passed one thing. I think it's probably the only bill that's been passed unanimously since the 1971 EPA Act. And I don't even think that was unanimous. I think that was 330-something to 1. There was 1. The 9/11 Act passed unanimously. What was the 9/11 Act? The Sovereign Wealth Act of 1976, the 33-degree Mason, Ford, like Trump, you cannot sue a foreign country. What's a Sovereign Wealth Act? The sovereign wealth is a country's money. Now, a lot of European countries, the Sovereign Wealth Fund is owned by the public. In the United States, oh hell no, we don't even have one. The United States, you're nothing but a piece of their property. The day you're born, you owe them $500,000 in debt. You know? You're just Social Security number. That's what you are. So, you can't sue them. So, I think it's irony that Trump is sitting with Prince Salman, who was the funder of the 9/11 terrorists, who part of them were on this campus. They arrested 5 people on 9/11 day on this campus, Saudi kids. That's right. They arrested 5. The day that the first responder spoke on the Hill. You remember seeing that? Jon Stewart was with him. This guy's famous. I've talked to him. I used to be a big activist about this in New York. Do you know he died the exact moment that Trump is in Japan with the killer? If you don't think that's who killed this guy, oh, he killed him. He died that day. 51, 53? These first responders are dying so fast it's unlit. The Saudis did this. Trump's sitting with him the moment he dies. Why is not mainstream media? Why is not alternative media talking about this? Trump used to talk about himself. Trump made a big splash in New York when I was young, post 9/11. I used to stand right at that empty hole, do videos, do rallies all the time. Ask anybody at freaking Washington Square. Ask the urge of the Occupy people. Ask the post-ignorance crowd. That's what my gig was. That was my stick, social inequality. I would stand right there at the hole. Trump would go off and say the Saudi royal family did this. The Saudi royal, we have to go after them. So the act was passed. So they sue in Congress. You can't sue them. Well, we got to get a law passed. They finally get the bill through. It goes to Congress. How many members of Congress are there right now?
435.
435. Senate, of course, 100. Did you know it passed? I believe 431 to nothing. 4 absent. Now think about that. To overturn that, did you know that Obama vetoed it? Did you know that there's only been 6 vetoes in Obama's history? Including, he could have pocket vetoed the Patriot Act, which was supposed to be, and he didn't. Did you know he vetoed that? Oh, it gets better. Where was he when the act got passed? In Saudi Arabia. But his women weren't there. He didn't sit with a bee. Then he went to London, was holding the prince, just like Trump. They're twins. He's even worse. So it goes to the Senate. It passed unanimously, I think 98-0. So Obama vetoed it. So what do you have to overturn a veto in the United States? 2/3 House and Senate, right? They overturned it so fast, make your head spin. Guess who? I think 3 senators voted against it. Hillary Clinton? Yep. Kane said he was on a campaign thing, her VP candidate. Harry Reid? Yep. Now this is how ignorant Harry Reid, the Mormon from here. Do you know he's sued? You know he's got cancer. Do you know he sued, said it was his arm bracelet when he grew up at Yucca Mountain, when he grew up under the 350 air open air test, the pro-nuclear one? He voted against it. So it goes to Congress. So they overturned it in the Senate. The Congress, I think there was 12 votes that voted against it. Did you know Chris Stewart from here voted against it? I think 2 of the 4 congressmen voted against it. Why would they? What? I still haven't figured that one out. You know, there's got to be a Mormon Masonic tie. You think? So they overturn it so they can sue the Saudi royal family. So what is the Saudi royal family's answer to it? Oh, here, we'll give you $1 billion. We'll fund this, that, and the other thing. So Trump, as soon as he gets elected, goes right over there and cuts a deal. Now, this is hearsay. This isn't fact. Don't quote me on this, but this is what the hearsay I get, that Trump has cut a deal with them to build hotels. Now, I don't know that to be true. But what I do know to be true is he's sure backed off on going after him. He's sure backed off. And where are the lawsuits? This lawyer who I knew in New York, where the hell is he? You know, did you know the Solvent Wealth Act, all the money that was gathered up, they went around with a fireman's boot and gathered up freaking millions and billions, and Feingold, Feinstein, whatever it was that divided up the money? Same as the BP spill money. Did you know it was not weighted equally? Kenneth Fitzgerald, our office was in there. I was in those places, you know, right before it happened. You know, they got away. They tried to blow up in '93. You know, they were told to get away. We were told to get away. They knew this was going to happen someday. They gave the Cantor Fitzgerald executives 20 times what they gave a janitor. So their life's worth more than a janitor's life. So these janitors and these first responders, mostly the first responders. Now, Jon Stewart's had to take this on. Thank you, Jon Stewart, for doing what you've done. I mean, I'm not a big fan of his, but I am on this. I mean, I think it's fantastic that he's championed this cause. He could do anything he wants. Mary Todd Whitney was head of the EPA. I used to go to Mary Todd Whitney because this county commissioner had drained the marsh off here. These first responders were sent into a toxic hellhole. She said she went in there and they put monitors. Now, the FEMA camp guy, who was the first guy original in there, is one of my old activist friends. I have the telephone. I own the telephone. The last one that was hanging on the wall, dangling there. I own it. I have it. Legally given to me by the FEMA contractor for my activism. Rent through the feds. Can I legally have this? Yes, you can have it. You can do videos under the mantra of teaching. I'm going to bring it in here. I'm going to donate it to school mail. I'll hang it right there on the wall. I cannot sell it. I cannot auction it. But I can use it in the name of it. That's coming right from the United States government. I own it. Those first responders, they knew they'd been toxified. The woman who was covered in white, the African-American woman, that famous photograph, do you know she's dead? At what, 40-something? You know, they're all dying, dead, the first responders. The ones that that crazy psycho buddy of Trump's didn't kill. Giuliani. Do you know go talk to New York City firemen about Giuliani. I have lots of friends of New York City firemen. Why? Because my daughter was dated one for years and years and years. And she used to, I mean, they're all Irish boys. I used to drink with them. I used to hang with them. I lived in New York for years. You know, I was back and forth. I'm still back and forth there. They hate Giuliani with a passion. Why? Because of the Motorola contract. Everybody inside the towers knew to get away. It had been tried to blow up in '92. So they had their own intercom system, the Wall Street firms. Get out, get away from the building, get collapse. That's what they told everybody. Weber State had 12 students in that building when this happened. From our school business. Dr. Handley had sent them back there. They were in that building. Our elite school business. I believe Dr. Handley might even have been there. I came up with this university, I freaked out. Oh my God, the kids, the students. There was a Utah Weber State student. I think he was a student at the time at the University of Utah. His name was Brady Howell. He was killed in the Pentagon. He's from here. Mrs. Wallstrom was on Flight 11. She was killed. She's from here. So I got up here that morning. I'm like, oh my God. I was teaching here then. Stepping in, helping Bruce. So I get up here and the secretary, the very secretary I was just talking about, I'm like, what the hell? She says, the FBI's in here. They have hard drives. They've arrested 5 students. KSL did an interview with them. How you getting out? We're flying out. Huh, how are you going to fly out? Well, we didn't know that Bush flew them all out. Prince Brother Bandar. Now it's Brother Solomon Trump. Thank God they had got the kids away. Because I think Baxter, who's a guy I graduated with, who's an executive VP for Solon Smith Barney, I think he was there as their guide. And he got them the hell out of there and got them the hell away. And they all ended up fine. Thank God. So these first responders, Mary Todd Whitney, has been caught. They falsified the EPA records. Did you know the EPA records for 9/11 by the Environmental Protection went in there and monitored the hole and the thing? Did you know they got sued and she admitted in a court of law that she lied? She doctored them under the Patriot Act. Mary Todd, is it Mary Todd Whitney? Yeah. Anyway, she was head of the EPA at the time. She admitted it. Why is she not in prison? You know how many people she killed? Oh, they told them it was safe. Go ahead and go in there. When they knew damn well it wasn't safe. Just like when Fukushima happened here. Gina McCarthy was head of RadNet. Obama ordered the freaking taking down of RadNet. They crashed. Well, what's that? The radio technique, same thing. Under the mantra of the Patriot Act. It's 9/11, 3/11 are so similar. I'm going to write a book, freaking 9/11 to 3/11. I mean, she's like, Kevin, you got to get a book. You got to get a book down to the wire. You know, after I gave my speech, I says, I know. Everybody's saying that. I'm one man. And you do know I'm fighting for my life. By the way, her son-in-law died of leukemia. She says, boy, is that curse real. Bruce had those guys back there. All the integrity gone. So, the sovereign wealth, they consume. The first responders can sue who? The Saudi royal family. Prince Salman is the salmon as I call. That's who Trump's kissing his hand in Japan. You see him grabbing his hand, they're hugging and kissing. It's been well done. I was a derivative arbitrage specialist at the time. I came home to get that first MBA, was talking to anything. I was allowed to run the hedge fund that I worked for. I was allowed to do it from this university. My boss, everybody allowed. In the name of saving the School of Business. For a gift to the Weber State University. You have to do this, Kevin. You have to. You are Clyde Cooley's protege. The last letter of recommendations are all here. Bruce Hanley's words, not mine. I agreed to do it like a dumbass. All they did was betray me. Of course, they betrayed him. Not one word was said about his freaking building up that school of business. Oh, he's got me. And I got a YouTube camera. For it's more mightier than the sword. They murdered those first responders. The United States government murdered them. He could sit with this Saudi. He can go to North Korea. What is the matter with you people going along with this? The countercultures who put Trump in office, they'd had it with the Democrats. They'd had it with the Republicans. They were looking for an alternative. He tapped into Alex Jones. Alex Jones did so much great work on 9/11. That's what created Alex Jones. Now look at him. Now look at him. He's on his knees globalist. I mean, it's such ultra betrayal. Let's start another one of these.